Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand Fan Forum. I mean, how did we throw that away? 2 goals ahead at half-time away from home and full-time 2-2. Manchester United 2, Spurs 2. And we're really disappointed. Some really poor substitutions, but then again, what's Ten Hag supposed to do? 120 minutes on Sunday. You're playing on Thursday. We've got Villa again on Sunday. We've got a really big lack of squad depth here. But yeah, the substitution's going to be differently. Some individual performance weren't quite good enough in the second half. And ultimately, how are we going to solve this problem that in the second half, we let teams back into the game and we're just simply not good enough? It's 2 different teams in each half. But anyway, we're going to get talking about that with Faz, Kev and Charlie. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people in the chat are really frustrated. But Faz, I'll start with you. On Twitter, you're putting out the videos, they're playing good football, tears in my eyes. Comes to the second half and then probably there literally was tears in your eyes seeing how we performed then. I mean, what do you think was the downfall? Was it the Eriksen sub? Was it taking Rashford out from through the middle? Was it just constantly playing that long ball, giving them possession? What actually caused Manchester United to take the foot off the gas that much?
I mean, Manchester United is the only team that can make him cry with joy and pain at the same time. That's what it seems. You can blame the players every single week, this, that, the other, but there's a common, scenario here, which is second half, Ten Hag is doing something, saying something to this team, setting out the tactics in second half in such a way that we come out and we're not firing. We're not keeping the same intensity. What is going on in that changing room in the second half? I want to raise questions. He's in charge of these players, and as much as I have full faith in him, I think he knows what he's doing, but he needs to get it right because we trust him to get us top 4. And as much as we have 2 games in hand, 6 points above, 6 points gap between the other teams, things like this can catch up. We've got tough games. City come in as well in the FA Cup final, so we need to make sure we keep our players fit as well. Don't risk any further injuries. His subs, like you said, he can make other subs, bring on Pellistri and Sabitzer, but he chose the players that he thought he could trust, and the players are letting him down. Fred is letting him down. He hasn't played many games in the recent times, and when you bring him on, you're supposed to at least show some form of ability. The guy's just constantly giving away the ball. It's not just scapegoating Fred, though. Everybody. This is the crazy thing about it is everybody just started going downhill. Again, early conceding in the second half and then late conceding in the second half. It's not acceptable. You conceded 1 goal in the second half. You then went on to bring Weghorst and Malacia, etc. Why? You've got Pellistri in there. What is he doing with Pellistri? I want to ask the manager this question. What are your thoughts behind Pellistri? The kid has clearly shown you that he can be somewhat of an impact. You gave Garnacho the opportunity and Garnacho proved it to you. Why are you not giving it the same for Pellistri? He could have come and brought in some pace, running behind, help us with the counter, be more energetic. He's brought on the slowest player that he could have possibly brought on to play behind Martial. It don't make sense.
Well, one thing for me that really caught me by surprise, Kev, Eric Dyer was having a torrid time against Marcus Rashford. Rashford was having a brilliant first half, really doing well as that number 9. And then, we need to score. And we need to score again. We know that. We know if Bruno Fernandes puts the ball back in the back of the net, it's a different game. But we still need to score another goal. And he brings Martial on up front and moves Rashford to the left. Next thing you know, Weghorst is coming on and Bruno's to the right. Bruno's completely nullified on the right. Playing as a 10, he was in the game. Our midfield gets lost. Really struggling to wrap my head around these substitutions. I mean, what do you make of it?
There must be some method to it. I mean, Faz, I don't know whether you're alluding to this is a Ten Hag thing. I can't for 1 minute imagine that he's come out in the second half. For me, it would have been more of the same of the first half. I thought we were totally in control. We get the early goal. I'm looking at it and thinking, right, the best thing we could have done was get an early goal because it's kind of infuriated this toxic kind of atmosphere, which it was, Levy out and all this crap started following when Man United took the lead. When we went 2-0 up, I'm thinking more of the same in the second half. I'm really struggling to understand what has happened in the second half. It's quite difficult to sit here, isn't it, and try and, because we're all kind of angry at the fact that we've thrown away a two-goal lead. Ten Hag, is he at fault with the substitutions? You just rightly pointed out long game on Sunday in the FA Cup. He does have to mix his squad up. And honestly, the amount of times I've been on here and I say squad depth, it does come down to that. Now, were my eyes deceiving me today, or was Brandon Williams on the bench? Yeah. That tells you everything you need to know about this squad at the minute. We can all sit here and laugh about the fact that Weghorst come on and slapped somebody in the face as he tried to move, and yes, he looks like, you know, a horse on roller skates on an ice rink or whatever. We're gonna go down. This is where we're at, Manchester United at the minute. You know, rightly or wrongly, however anybody sits on this issue, we let Cristiano Ronaldo go in November. You know, we are fast approaching coming into May now. And nobody can tell me that Weghorst was an upgrade or somebody that replaced him. We are crying out for a number 9, whether it's Osimhen, Harry Kane, who was given man of the match on, you know, the TV that I was watching today. It's a huge part of the squad. And, you know, Marcus Rashford is not the answer. I firmly believe that Anthony Martial is not the answer as a number 9. It's an area of the pitch that needs addressing. But there are other worries. The fact that Eriksen has been rushed back, had to be brought off again. It didn't look like he could complete 90 minutes. That's why he's come off. We were talking before about Casemiro. These were questions over Casemiro when he first come to United. Have we bought a dud? Have Real Madrid done us again? No, but it does seem to take him 4 or 5 games. And that the red card that he received and the 4-game ban has definitely affected everything. And I go down the route that the squad, when you look at, I hate comparing it to Manchester City, but when you look at what they did to Arsenal last night and the fact that they were able to bring a Foden on, and Alvarez and a Mahrez, you know, that's 3 players at this moment in time that would walk into our starting 11.
We're absolutely nowhere near that level.
Nowhere near it.
And that's what's disappointing. I mean, you look at City and they've got Alvarez, Mahrez, and like you said, coming off the bench, and we've got Fred and Weghorst. And, you know, someone in the chat rightly just said then, Salah has been a member for 33 months. Thank you for that. How do we explain that he didn't use Sabitzer and put him on as number 10 instead of Weghorst? Squad is poor, yet surely Sabitzer is better than Weghorst. And then Christopher Cordova says, Erik ten Hag needs to be held accountable. A few games now that this has cost us. I think Erik ten Hag is a brilliant manager, and I have full faith in him. I think we are going to get top 4. But Charlie, you said it yourself. I mean, we've had these games where second half we've played really well in the first half. Second half, it just completely capitulates. I mean, Eriksen was on the pitch at 2-0. And then he comes off the pitch, Fred comes on, it ends up 2-2. Is that a problem for us? Is it the squad depth? Is it the mentality? I mean, Kev talked about needing a striker, but 2 goals, you should think you'd be able to see it out on that. I mean, what do you think?
The thing is, for me, is as much as we can all sit here and go, look, we actually did need another goal, and I can't actually remember at what point our subs came on. Was it at 2-1 or was it still 2-0? Either way, at 2-0, as much as you do want that extra goal, right, 2-0 is quite a risky scoreline. You don't actually have to score when you're winning the game. It sounds so obvious to say, but no matter who Ten Hag and what players, you're trusting in the players that you put out there to see the scoreline out, right, and play well. Like, it's so stupid. And for me, it's not a Ten Hag issue. That's just a Manchester United issue. I said at half-time, when I came back up here, I said it will be so Man United. We've done it so many times this season. We play well for 45 minutes, and then we come out and we play crap.
Is that not on Ten Hag, though, to change that mentality?
Yeah, but I don't think that you can expect him to change the mentality of a 18-man squad in one season. I don't think that's. I think you can definitely see the mentality has improved 100%, but there's definitely still gaps that can be improved upon, and certain players that do need to have. They probably look at the classic glass half full instead of glass half empty. You get it out there. Yeah. You know, it is little things like that, and I don't know. It's just Manchester United would just keep doing Man United things. Like I tweeted like mentality monsters. It was so obvious that we were going to concede again at a 2-1. Like you could. Yeah. It's just like someone had read me the book, and it was just waiting for them to score. And I'm surprised they didn't score again. In all honesty, like it is just what we do. And I think I heard Mark say it on the stream, the watch along. if we were 2-0 down and you bring it back to 2-2 against Spurs for this top 4 fight, you take it. But when it's the other way around, it's just like, it is almost like a loss, isn't it?
It's criminal in a way. It's horrible to feel.
I just want to say, look, you know, in open play, you can get things wrong, sure. And Tottenham can, you know, look like they have top players, you know, nonetheless, and they can look like they look dangerous. But why are we not good at set pieces, corner kicks? Why? Open play, sure, okay, you've thrown the game away, midfield is wide open, all of this stuff, subs are going wrong. This is just basic, fundamental of football. Get a corner kick right, put it in a good area.
And to think, Faz, we brought in a set-piece coach.
Is
there a lack of height in our team as well?
Why is Fred taking corners in the last minute of the game?
But
that got me today. That really riled me, man.
You are a professional football player for Manchester United. Do you understand? Manchester United, not Boreham Wood. With all due respect, you must be able to beat your first man in a corner. That's like the most basic.
Do it at Boreham Wood as well. That's the thing. Like,
that's
you should
the basic.
Be
like, teams come to players.
On the pitch, eh?
Teams come to players and we say, oh, they're good at corner kicks. They have tall lads in there. They have, you know, good set piece takers. Why are we not able to just be of some threat? We have a 6'6" giant in there, and yet we are of no threat. Okay, he's not good in the air, whatever. Just no threat.
But do you know what else is worrying? Going forward on set pieces, we're no threat. But defensively on set pieces, we are poor. We're getting targeted off crosses badly today. Badly. I mean, every time a cross came into the box, I had to close my eyes. Honestly, they were just kept putting it in there because they were getting so much joy out of it. I mean, there could have been a couple more goals from set pieces. I mean, in a game where I actually thought Lindelof and Shaw played well.
Yep.
So if Lindelof and Shaw are playing well, like midfield, I think David De Gea needs to be more commanding in there. Fullbacks, I mean, Malacia got absolutely rinsed. Is it just set plays both ways? Is just Manchester United?
Do you know what it is? The amazing I know it's a cliche thing that football is a game of two halves, and that was purely evident today because let's just say the game ended at half-time and Manchester United won this 2-0. We would be talking about an absolute sensational performance by Luke Shaw at centre-back. You know, looking and going.
Brilliant.
Luke Shaw's been brilliant. He's a brilliant left-back, but to be able to step into centre-back and some of the performances he's put in, we would have been saying that Bruno's back to his best. That pass for Rashford in the first half, you know, that was like, wow! You know, the ball over the top, was telepathic. Wow, it would have been one of them moments. There was loads of positives. At half-time, I'm thinking, as Faz would say, we're cooking.
Yeah,
we're cooking something up.
Look,
where does the drop-off come?
In the first half,
in the second half,
mentality,
subs as well.
We draw in the pressure. We spray the ball out, and Rashford has the burners to go and catch the ball. Second half, totally opposite, because Rashford's not in that position. It's Martial. So if that's the case, the fundamental is, if you have space in the midfield, you need someone who can walk and carry the ball in midfield. Numerous times, I'm not pointing just Fred. I hate to do this, but he is there on the pitch, so I have to call it. He can't walk with the ball. We don't have any midfielders who can walk with the ball. The only player, the only two actually, who could, and I hate to say this, is Scott McTominay and Sabitzer, who could do some parts of walking, you know, carrying the ball a little bit. We didn't have that. Why did Ten Hag not bring on Sabitzer, knowing that second half, you know, he's already conceded, and bring on a player that could carry the ball a bit further up the pitch? Because what you saw in second half is nobody in midfield. Everybody's on the back foot. Everybody's near to our box, and now we're getting sprayed. Yeah, and it's just it's not good. This is decision making at the highest level. You need to be able to get it right. He had this issue at the start of the season.
It comes down to squad depth again, because we're talking about Fred before. Now it'd have been all right if Fred was playing for Tottenham this evening. He would have had 100% pass completion. The only thing is, I don't know whether he's colourblind or what, but every single pass he played went to a man in a white shirt. You know, and at this time of the game, when you're looking to try and stamp some kind of authority, we're looking to get, you know, into it. And I'm like, wow. And like you said at the end, for Fred to be taking a corner, he must have been instructed to do that. You know, surely, you know,
there you go.
You're not telling me that the players have gone, Fred, you have it. You know, you're the man to take this. Let's get everyone in the box.
When Ronaldo was in the club, we said, why are you coming in the halfway line when you should be in between the stick, higher up? Today, Martial's coming in the halfway line, collecting fouls, and the ball's just ending up with Tottenham. I don't understand. Again, you've brought in Weghorst, he's on the pitch, let him do the running around and collecting the fouls and everything. The guy who's most injury prone, you're putting him in a situation where he's getting tackled so much. I don't understand. I don't know what to make of it.
Well, there's a couple of super chats coming in that we'll get into. Brian Dale says the away form is depressing me. I mean, against the top 6, we just can't get a result away from home. It's it's
top
frustrating.
9 away we haven't beat.
It's crazy.
How many goals did we concede?
Oh,
27.
27, I think.
I'm so worried about Aston Villa, but the only thing that's giving me hope is that we're at home. Ryan Crook says, no one can doubt now the impact Kane would have. He's levels above our forwards.
Let's get
all
baby.
over it.
Reece Jones says, this is on the owners and not Eric Ten Hag. The squad needed investment in December. Yes, it's true. They did, definitely. Dylan Hardman, Man United need to strengthen so bad. Our depth is so bad. Sick of United not killing games off. And, thank you for that compliment as well. Give me a little compliment there at the end. Thank you. But, I mean, let's get on with the show. The confidence took my breath away. But
You're turning
Charlie,
red.
like it's just a sunbed this, I'm joking. Like you said, you've been on the Harry Kane bandwagon for quite a while. Today you got man of the match, and I tweeted out saying Harry Kane, he's such a good player. Him and Rashford, I think, would cook together. I really do. Like the way he was just spreading balls across the pitch, his passing was excellent. I mean, and there was still people in the reply saying, I don't know how he got man of the match. He was non-existent. I mean, people surely like Harry Kane. It's obvious that he'd probably make improvements inside, surely, isn't it?
100%, 100%. If he but the debate here doesn't need to be Harry Kane or Osimhen, right? It is just Harry Kane makes Manchester United a better side, and he will score you 20 Premier League goals, right? Like, without a doubt. However long that is for is up for question, whether you think he can do it for 2 seasons, 3 seasons, 4 seasons, however long. But do Manchester United need a striker? Yes. Again, the price tag, it is what it is, right? But if you're going to... Fabrizio said Napoli aren't going to want to let go of Osimhen for 130, minimum. And as much as Daniel Levy is a bit of an arsehole, I do reckon when push comes to shove that he would let him go.
Reinvest as
for
well.
80 to 90. And some people might not agree with that, but I honestly think Harry Kane is one of the best strikers like the Premier League has ever seen. Like genuinely up there with, in terms of all-round ability, absolutely world class. Like genuinely, he goes into every single team in the world. 100%.
Apart from City.
No, he would. No, but he would. 100% because you just put him in 10. Or you just put him in centre mid. Like genuinely, he could play anywhere. He's that good. You put him on the wing, he will be just as good.
He's the only person I've seen without pace that still manages to beat people.
He's the thing which is underrated with him as well. Yeah, he is so clever. He's 4 steps, 5 steps ahead of everyone else on the pitch, and it's even like people don't see. Or kind of appreciate. He is quite a bit of like a dark arts footballer as well. Like the little nudges into people and when the ball's in the air, obviously you're not meant to, if you're 50-50 with someone, you're not meant to look at them, otherwise it's shown as intent and it gives away the foul. But he'll give them a little look and then he gives them a little dig and then that's them off balance and he brings the ball down. He is literally like perfect. I'd honestly be comfortable with him playing in any position because I think he could just do everything.
I think a lot of United fans for some reason become ageist when it comes to Harry Kane.
Because he's been bitten in the past.
How old is he? He's 29. He might be turning 30 this year. I couldn't give a shit, man. How old was Robin van Persie when when Man United signed Robin van Persie? 28. So what? He was only a year behind, we'll say, at that time. He single-handedly won Sir Alex Ferguson the Premier League trophy in his last season in 2013. Robin van Persie was unbelievable. So it comes down to the argument of, well, how much would you spend? And again, it's not your money, whoever's watching. Yeah. These people that are penny pinching and going, 80 million's a bit dear for Kane. So what? It's not you lot, that are paying for it. Hopefully, it might be the new owners.
By the time Harry Kane's had his 3 good years, because I think you at least do get 3 good years out of him. By the time you've had that, go and get Evan Ferguson. He'll have developed them. Move on. Keep him all.
If we've been bought out, and then people can start, he'll have no resale value. It's not money.
Yeah,
but the thing is,
not going to
this whole argument comes down to tomorrow. We need to find out what's going on with the bidding. Yeah. Because what Charlie's analogy is, I'm sure if the Qataris come in, we have an unlimited budget, pretty much. We'll have the biggest budget to blow.
FFP comes into it and all that, all that random stuff of, You know, this is one reason why I'd sell Scott McTominay at a snap of a hat, because he's come through the youth academy, so it's considered pure profit. So it literally just goes against FFP, and we then can spend
Same
more.
with Brandon Williams.
Yeah, like all these guys who have come through. If you get 40 million for
That's
Scott
what Chelsea have been doing, isn't
Scott
it?
McTominay, that is ridiculous in terms of FFP.
Yeah.
Interesting chat. Van Persie had just turned 30 1 month upon joining United.
Was it 30? Okay.
I mean, the thing is, right, it's all hearsay. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day, because it's the same way that of Beth's argument with the De Gea thing. I guarantee, if we get a new keeper, as soon as they make a mistake, you know, the world's ended. If Kane comes in, and although this whole injury agenda thing against him, when he hasn't actually been injured in like 2 years, if he gets injured, that'll be the end of it. You know, that is just the way it goes, because, you know, the same way when De Gea makes a world-class save, it's, oh, well, you know, you don't care about him playing with his feet. Like, people always find the opposite of what you're trying to say. And it's like Harry Kane will just make Manchester United better.
And that's the point I'm trying to make on the Robin Van Persie fee. Don't get me wrong. What we're talking, so let's say roughly 80 million or something for Kane at this moment in time.
I reckon you're going to have to push up to 90.
Well, let's say 80, 90, whatever it is.
What's 10 million?
But the Van Persie fee, I mean, that was what, 10 years ago? Was it 2000? I would say 2012, so what, about 11 years ago? You know, in today's market now, you're probably talking about the same. Van Persie would have been that player of Van Persie's ilk, that age.
Anthony Gordon went to Newcastle for 50 million. You're telling me that Harry Kane isn't at least double the player that Anthony Gordon is?
Exactly.
But
and then people are like, oh, he's got a year left on his contract.
He's young.
But this is why the
That's where you've been ages, Beth. You're falling into
that's what people say.
The market isn't like a fair representation, because realistically, you're only worth what the team is willing to pay for you, right? Otherwise, a team wouldn't pay that amount of money. So it's your 80 million for a player might be a different valuation to my 80 million
Harry Maguire
on a player. Like, you know, it's not a fair representation. Again, it doesn't, you know, and I'd happily, if we went and got Osimhen, I'm not going to sit in a corner and, I wanted Harry Kane. Like, I don't care. I'd love Osimhen as well.
Yeah, Osimhen's class.
But I just think, in my personal opinion, the things which people are saying for Osimhen is the age and the resale factor, and it's like, well, if Osimhen comes in, he's only going to be doing, and plays well, he's only going to be doing what Harry Kane has been doing for the last 9-10 years in the Premier League, right? Best case scenario. That's what he's going to do, score 25 goals, and you don't actually know whether he's going to do it. I reckon he would be able to do it, but you don't know yet, whereas Harry Kane's been doing it for X, Y, Z amount of years. Yeah. Like, I just think it's a no-brainer.
And isn't a resale value, that this thing that the kids today go on about, that he's got no resale value, is one of the most negative things ever, because before you've even signed a player, you're talking about reselling them and making a little bit of money or whatever. You want them to stay at Manchester United.
Well, what I say to people, everyone knows I love Osimhen, I'd love to sign Osimhen, but what I say to people with Harry Kane, when they talk about the price, would you pay 100 million to challenge for the league, potentially win it? Potentially even challenge to the Champions League. That's how transformative a top striker.
I think the worry is
genuinely
he's not the final piece of the jigsaw. If it was guaranteed,
we need to rebuild a little bit more.
We need to spend other money, and I think that's where people start. Again, the sale of the club, like Faz says, everything's up in the air. Tomorrow, hopefully, we'll know a little bit more about where we are in terms, and Erik ten Hag will want to know this for his budget next season. That is the major thing at the moment, because some people will look at it and go, right, 90, 100 million for Kane, is that the budget? You know, there's this thing about, oh, he's got 150 million to spend, that will leave 50 million. We still need a midfielder. Defensively, we need this, that, and people will look at that.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got a couple of super chats in. Dylan says we have to get Kane, and Alex says, cannot stand when Erik ten Hag moves Bruno to the wing. Neither can I. I really don't like it, and it didn't work again today. Leo J says we need about 5 new players in the summer that can grab the game by the scruff of the neck. I really think we are missing the butcher. Thoughts, guys? I have to massively agree with you. I thought we looked weak second half, getting shoved off the ball again. Not the first time since Martinez isn't here. Go and give someone a shove. Put a tackle in.
Well, what did we talk about earlier? Mentality. I mean, that is a man that mentally is wired up the right way to play for Manchester United.
Just quickly, sorry, because a big thing which people like to bring up about Kane as well is a loser, right? He's a loser. He's a loser. All this.
It does my head
the geezer just carried his team.
Tottenham, man.
He got like what does that say for our players today? We were 2-0 up and we've just thrown away the lead, and Harry Kane's the best player on the pitch. What does it say?
Well,
Yeah.
I think that argument's so stupid. Anyone who uses that argument, it's an 11-man team. It's and you're playing for Spurs as well. That's like it's like it just has a losers feeling around the place. Robin says I think we need a centre mid and CDM just as much as a striker. I wanted to get onto this topic because Casemiro is the next one I want to speak about. We are going to get onto some positive guys like Sancho and Rashford and Bruno's assist as well was brilliant. But I want to talk about Casemiro, and here we go. The new little graphics coming up behind us.
He's Casemiro.
Yeah. He's been absolutely brilliant this season. There's no doubt about it. But Kev, like you said, when he first came into the team, took a couple games to warm up. Just come back from his suspension, taking some games to warm up. This guy's undeniable. He's brilliant. He's transformed the team. Nothing taken away from him from that. But when he's not on it, we desperately need, or he's suspended, or he's injured, or he needs a rest. We desperately need someone who can play that role because we don't have anyone who can do it to nowhere near the standard that he can. I mean, Faz, and we'll work our way across. I think one of the most important positions we need is like a centre defensive mid, probably a centre defensive mid that can step in for Casemiro, like a Casado. He would be brilliant, someone like that. What do you think? Yeah,
100%. At 20 years old, this kid has put on a performance of his life against Manchester United, and that's the type of player that we should be looking at to be able to, in times like such in second half when you need someone with a bit more risk, a bit more energy to turn and twist the player and find spaces. Casemiro unfortunately wasn't able to do that, and as much as I love him, I have to say the fact that he needs 2 or 3 games to start firing again after he comes back at this level, it's not good enough, and it's weird coming out at this level because he knows this level. The guy is a Champions League winner. Something's, like I say, I can pinpoint it on him, but something's not working in second half. You can say the player's messing up, but what is happening as a unit? Because the player himself isn't bad. He's performed, performed unreal for Manchester United. People will argue if Scott McTominay was here, he would do this, that, the other. But let's be honest, obviously, Casemiro is, miles clear of Scott McTominay. But what is going wrong? Is it that he has to feel like he needs to babysit the players around him so he doesn't take the risk, he doesn't be more free when the ball is around him? Because it seems like the ball is treated like hot lava when in second half. It's just everybody, I don't want the risk, I don't want the pressure, you have it, no, you have it. And the ball just ends up with the opposition again and again. And it's not good enough. We need to stay composed, and he is a leader. He needs to be able to dictate his surrounding and control the game. And it's a shame that it takes him games to do that.
We struggle at retaining possession when we're under pressure, don't we? We really struggle at that. I mean, Charlie, you spoke about Lavia. Southampton go down. I mean, he's got to be someone else you look at. Really good pace in the midfield, can put a tackle in, can play centre mid, could play the deeper role.
The only thing with Lavia is I'm pretty sure Man City have a buyback option of like 40 million or something. Yeah. Which I'm sure that they wouldn't, if they got a whiff of United interested, I'm pretty sure they'd
just buy him back to.
But yeah, no, Lavia's good, and I'm sure that there's quite a good few individuals at Southampton, should they go down, that I'm sure will be playing for back in the Premier League. Your Kyle Walker-Peters, obviously Ward-Prowse, Bella Kotchap and Lavia, just to name a few. Like they're all decent. So, but no, Caicedo, he was incredible against us. Like you forget, like this guy's like 5 years younger than me. Like I'm sat watching him on TV.
He's younger than you.
He's 20.
Yeah, he's 20 years old.
I thought he's 21.
He's 20 years. He's just turned 20 years old.
And he's
same age as me. You're laughing at.
No, I just think, and because I know everyone at home will be like, we could have got him for 2 million and this and that. I actually disagree. Well, no, I don't. I disagree with the point of going and getting him for 2 million just for the fact because Man United are incompetent and he would have just sat in the reserves and he wouldn't be the player that he is.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't then appreciate what you have. So it's hindsight, isn't it? You're just frustrated with what you didn't go and get, but then, you know what? How long ago has he been at Brighton? 3 years? 2 years?
Yeah.
I guarantee you, if under who we were at Solskjaer and that, he would have come in, he would have already gone before Ten Hag came in.
He's 21, by the way.
Because he would have played in the reserves, he probably would have gone out on loan, might have done okay, been a bit like a Andreas Pereira and then just gone.
Well, it's like...
Because he wanted to play.
Do you remember when we were about to get Camavinga? Apparently we went over and watched him and was like, oh, we're not going to pay the 25 because we were going to get Ronaldo, weren't we? It was at the year we were getting Ronaldo. And we're like, we're going to have to go and do the Ronaldo deal, and Camavinga, if we buy him for 25 million, he's going to have to spend a year in the under-23s. That was the explanation. Honestly, it's just absolutely mental.
I mean, you're obviously going to get the occasional stinker, but Man United just seem to produce like 2 or 3 a year in terms of who we could have got. And
I got tagged the other day because everyone thinks I've got some British bias, and they were like, if it was Beth's choice this summer, we'd have Kane, Declan Rice and Diogo Costa. First of all, Mount. I mean, Mount's an arguable one, but Kane, Declan Rice and Diogo Costa would all be brilliant signings.
Jeez, I thought you said Diego Costa, and I'm thinking you man at Wolves.
We need a bit of fight in there.
People know me, Casado's right up there. He's like one of my first choice midfielders that I would go for. I think he's incredible, Prem proven. I mean, exactly what Man United need. Can play as a 6. Imagine Casado at 21, learning under Casemiro for 3 years, because Casemiro's probably got 3 good years left at him, learning under him, but also being able to play alongside him because he can play 8 as well. Playing in games where, Casemiro needs a rest, he's the perfect development for that type of player. We're crying out for him. I hope we go for that deal. When I heard we're in for McAllister's very good. But Casado,
he wasn't that good against us.
For the money that we're going to pay, Casado's levels above potential-wise.
For his age.
I actually think Declan Rice would be really good.
So do I.
Because you can see he's very good in his position now for West Ham. Obviously, he's playing in a worse team. But I think he'll be better playing further forward. But then when Casemiro does need a rest or is suspended for whatever reason, he can play in that role as well.
Don't say that, Charlie. British bias. So British bias on here.
Yeah.
No, it's
just good.
It's just, that's the thing. When players are good, they're good, and there is a couple English players that are actually very good. There's some European and South American players that are also very good. It's just looking at the talent in front of you. That's what I mean. Chat's in too many English players. If they're good, then what
I think people are almost like
is it because we
scarred now because we had obviously when Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Lindelof and Shaw, the back four, and everything was going wrong, and it was just. Harry Maguire's English, isn't it? So it's like
Harry Maguire is awful.
One saying too many English players.
Did anyone see the? That's what quite a few of the chat are saying. Too many English players, but did you see?
Isn't that like going back to the days of Alan Hansen saying you don't win anything with kids, and saying too many young kids in the team?
Did you see the interview with Marcus Rojo, by the way? Absolutely slandering Maguire, crazy. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer saying he has to play because he was 80 mil. It's mental.
And I bet he's not getting death threats and having to check under his car to see if there's a bomb under it, like Kev has to, because Kev said the other week that Harry Maguire's no good. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest.
It's been bugging you, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. It's getting to me.
There is obviously a lot of negatives to this game because it does feel like a loss when you throw the game away. It's so frustrating because we should have won it. But a real positive that I wanted to bring up is Jadon Sancho, that goal, what a strike. Rashford in the build-up, by the way, incredible. I mean, was the penalty the turning point for Sancho? Was it the turning point for him? Is he going to go on now then? Talk to me now. Is he going to go on and start living up to the player that we all know he can be? I thought he was unlucky to get substituted. I mean, Kev?
I think a lot of us are going to get, a lot of United fans probably in the chat and that are going to get bogged down by the fact that this game's finished 2-2 and we're all highly annoyed that we've kind of thrown this game away or whatever, however you look at it. The start to the game was great. Jadon Sancho, fantastic goals. You knew exactly what he was going to do. From a critical point, if you're a Tottenham fan, you're probably looking at that and thinking, how has that even happened? To show him onto his right foot and be able to shoot across the keeper from there.
Who's also massive.
Yeah, exactly. Great finish from Sancho. And you're thinking, here we go, another positive. We've been on here loads of times, haven't we? We've spoke about Sancho. We're kind of looking at him and saying he needs to step up. Does he want to be here next season and that? And probably like many of the games that Sancho's had, apart from the fact he registered a goal today, it did kind of fizzle out. But I ain't blaming it on Jadon Sancho. For some reason, a lot of Manchester United players today kind of fizzled out. I don't know whether to pay testament to Tottenham. I find it difficult to do it because I look at it and think there's probably only Harry Kane from that starting 11 of Tottenham that I would take at Manchester United. For me, man for man, every single Manchester United player out there today was better than what Tottenham had out. And that's why I'm struggling really to see how Manchester United drew this game today. Have Tottenham just played off some team talk at half-time maybe, saying them fans
Pure
out
vibes.
there. Yeah, exactly, pure vibes where, you know, the manager's saying, the fans have just booed you off at half time. You go out there, you know, and just give it. Have we been out-passioned again? You know, how many times has that happened this season where we've been out for, you know, passion-wise, there was no fight. But again, listen, at half time, it was a fantastic performance. By the end of it, I ain't going to blame Jadon Sancho for the drop in levels. It was along the board, and we've seen it so many times. You know, it is.
Yeah.
You know, where does the buck stop?
In the first half, you saw Tottenham square the ball so many times in our box. Didn't look dangerous because they didn't have anybody to get in and score or tap the ball in. So you kind of got a hint that they might start doing similar things. And long behold, the last goal came from a whip into the box and then the ball going in. But you have to ask yourself, why is that not being addressed in second half?
Yeah.
You know, why, you've seen the opposition do that. Great that they didn't have success. Make sure you lock this up and this doesn't happen. Why is it that it's happening again and again and again? Why are we not able to understand and read the opposition? That stadium, it's not a stadium. It's an events hall. Yeah. They host events. Tottenham Hotspur have got no heritage. They're not, you know, I don't understand. I would understand if there was, Etihad, Emirates, Newcastle even. This is Tottenham Hotspur. They don't have, they host Lady Gaga concerts.
They're not viewed as supporters by the club, the customers.
Kane would say it's Spurs.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, who do we fear except for Kane and Son? Like, we don't fear anyone. They're back. They're Eric Dyer. Let's be honest. Like, I don't understand how the lads have gone out in second half. And either it's one of two. Either they've just thought, right, it's a walk in the park.
Yeah, that's
it's a walk in the park. It's 2-0, lads. Well, you know, Bruno Fernandes, he's got that chance. We'll get more chances like this, and they've eased off the gas. Or two, it's the subs that cost us. It's one of the two.
I was just going to say that hindsight's a great thing, but even the one-touch football for the chance that Bruno Fernandes had, that he almost seemed to shin it and it goes off the bar. Wan-Bissaka has the header, the keeper saves it. If that goes in, that's the moment Manchester United win the game. And it is fine lines. That's what makes football so interesting. But if United make that 3-1 at that stage, then again, Tottenham fans will turn the toxicity. Got the word out again, struggled with that. Remember the last time on the cup final. That kicks back in, the fans are on the back, Levy out and all that, and that all starts. And United would have gone on to win the game. But again, hindsight.
It's fine margins in football. But I do want to say, just to kind of finish up on that, is Sancho, brilliant goal. I'm expecting things from him. I would like him to start next game. I think he looked very good today when he was on the ball. I think he looked sharp. He was tracking back well. He was actually getting back. Him and Rashford were linking up good. I liked him. So that is definitely a positive that could come out of it. I mean, Charlie, you fan of Sancho? Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I think when I hosted last week or whenever it was, I said that the consistency just needed to improve rather than Monday showing up and doing an 8 and then a 4 and then a 7. You know, you don't want peaks and troughs. You want, you know, some consistency rather than up down. You know, you're not going to play. No one plays perfect every game. Today he played better than he has done for a longer period of time. So again, it is just he's got to look at what he's done and go, okay, so why has this worked? Why did I score? How did this come about? And then just kick on.
Because too as well.
Yeah, you know, he could quite easily, not being funny, just going off of past performances, the next game, if he starts, which he probably will, would you say? You know,
yeah,
he could quite easily just be almost invisible again, just off of track record. But he needs now, this should be the confidence, right? I don't think the penalty is like a turning point. I don't know, me from a personal point of view, a penalty in a penalty shootout, when it's not the winning penalty or anything, it's still a significant moment, but I don't think you can really use that as, right, well, because I've scored that, you know, for the last 8 games, I'm going to play really well. I don't think...
Well, Vegas scored a penalty, you know, but it doesn't mean he's going to go on and conquer the world.
I just think there just needs to be... And hopefully what happens is it happens in pre-season when hopefully some more better players come in and Ten Hag gets more time with the team, just consistent training. Because we remember, we're playing games, 3 games a week for the most part, right? Consistent tactics, consistent, you know, transitions and attack v defence and all this. And you proper get the Sancho from Dortmund, because the guy was putting up ridiculous numbers, right? Even if he brings in like half of what he was doing, right? He's getting like 15 goals and 15 assists.
Yeah.
He's definitely got it there. I can see it ready to come out of him. And today it was a good showing, but like you said, needs to be on a consistent level. And there's a couple players that need to kind of bring that consistency. We'll get into that in a second. Joanne says, I would honestly like to avoid more media pressure, which will 100% happen if we get Kane. Look at how Maguire is, let alone Harry Kane. Different.
But
different,
how do you
different.
talk about?
Media
Hold on. I just want to say that thing about media pressure is absolutely the B word. I don't want to say it, but
That's
it is,
part and
because
parcel of being a
what did
footballer.
they do to Anthony?
Casemiro
What did
as
they
well.
do to Martinez? What did they do to these two players? And these two players have come leaps and bounds in signing. So the media will always be the media when it's Manchester United and the players.
part
makes-
and
makes
parcel
sense.
of being a
Do you get more
footballer at
numbers if you've got
United.
Man United in your
Yeah.
thumbnail, title, media headline, whatever it is?
Casemiro was what Graham Souness said, a steady Eddie. Martinez was
Too
too
small.
small,
Well, we've just
not
had-
physical enough for the
Anthony
Premier
was
League.
a fidget spinner. this,
Anthony,
that.
We
yeah.
just had a super chat in from Enjoy Writing saying Casemiro is over the hill, no consistency, just moments. I don't agree with that at all. I think
Wow.
he's had a poor game today, and he's had a couple poor games, but he's been unbelievable this
It's
season.
crazy, isn't it? Like the amount of people that will just.
Flip.
It's
on one
just
game.
like this guy's crap because he's played 2 or 3 bad
You
games.
really have to take into consideration
season.
the stop-start that he has had recently with them red cards, which
Yeah.
I didn't agree with.
Sirium L says, I think Casemiro is holding off tackles due to refereeing decisions. Also, why would you want to spend the entire summer window and give 100 million to a top 4 rival? Because he's class. And we've
He's
got another
classy,
super
mate,
chat in saying, I think Casemiro is holding... Oh, we've seen that one. Harry Maguire in the chat. I mean, thanks. It's obviously not him. Beth, you look nice today. Love Harry. Thank you. He's definitely not Harry Maguire after what I've said about him in the
I was
past.
going to say, he would have said something about me as well, probably.
Junior says, love Ten Hag, don't get me wrong, he's definitely the man to take us back to the promised land, but Ajax fan warned us about his tendency to make the wrong subs at the wrong time, and we're seeing it big. Big up my bro, Faz, and everyone. Thank you for that. Shahin says, I'd take Osman for 120 mil. We need to build for the future. Kane has 1 to 2 seasons left in him, which is not long enough to challenge for big trophies. I think he's got more than 1 to 2. And
It doesn't make sense because Benzema just won the Ballon d'Or at 34.
I don't.
I'm not
get it.
saying Kane will win the Ballon d'Or at 34, but
what-
players can sustain and stay long periods of time in their career later on.
why do-
and he's a striker.
Why do people think like? Because this is the thing as well. Because I'm going to sit here and go, well, what gives the impression that he's only got 2 seasons left? Like, why?
Because
he's not
they
getting
see-
worse. He's scoring more goals than ever.
Because they see
It's
the
only
injury
because the
record.
road- but there's no injury
I know
record.
there isn't. I'm just saying
Do you know what I mean?
they go on transfermarket.com and they see the couple of days of injury and they start thinking, oh my God, but it's not. Listen, the guy is scoring 20 plus goals a season and
if
that's not
Harry
an injury prone
Kane,
player.
if Harry Kane played in Europe and wasn't English, everyone would want him.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
And he's Premier League proven, that's why it's a no-brainer.
Enjoy Writing says Madrid got the best of the Casemiro deal. Wake up. I don't agree.
2-2, yeah, 2.
But you know, get your opinions in, everyone. Hayo Han says we should cut the lads some slack. They played 120 minutes of high intensity football on Sunday. We've played more minutes than anyone and it's showing. Yeah, I do agree with that. I think we are like kind of taking that into consideration.
It is, and because we don't have the
don't.
squad to deal with it.
The only reason I don't agree with that is because that's what Man United should be. It should be in every competition.
Yeah.
It should be getting to the later stages,
squad depth
finals.
though, innit?
Yeah,
I don't
it's-
like the, I'll be honest, I don't like the squad depth argument.
got
As
that.
much as it makes sense, I don't like it. You are supposed to do this.
I know, but
this
if
is
you
an
look at other
expectation.
teams and look at our bench.
I know you're
compared to
saying
other teams.
squad depth as
Brandon
in
Williams
look,
on the bench.
Yeah, sure, but so was Pellistri and Sabitzer. You can play 20 minutes. I'm telling you could have played 20 minutes, Sabitzer. You could have played 20, 30 minutes, Pellistri. So there were players there to be picked from. He didn't pick him. That's the factual information.
We are missing a couple of players as well. Dylan Hardman says, starting to think United is cursed with the Glazers in charge, and I can say that we are missing Garnacho very much. I agree. Don't let him go to
He's
the
a game
Argentina
changer.
under-20s. It's stupid.
come on.
Alan Kenny, Alcaraz is the player we should go for from Southampton. But thank you, everyone, for all the super chats coming in. We really, really do appreciate it. And yeah, I think I've just covered them all there. Yeah, I think I have. So we'll move on to a player that I wanted to speak about, which is Fred. Not had much game time summer, and not this summer. This half of the season's not had too much game time. His performance today didn't leave much to be desired. Let's be honest, did it? I mean, Faz, can you see why maybe Fred's getting less game time? Because he's been a hero for Man United at times. You know, pass to Fred. Fred will tear you apart again. Some games he's been brilliant this season, and he did step up a little. You know, when Eriksen was injured, he stepped up. But, you know, he does have the tendency to have these games where he's just a disaster. another player that needs consistency.
Yeah, 100%. You have to earn the manager's trust. Remember, he says that you have to earn your starting minutes. And this is the thing with Fred. I remember, earlier on in the season, we were sitting here debating, thinking, shall Fred start the next game? Is he ready? Is he been good enough, and etc. And this is why Ten Hag hasn't been starting him or playing him as much, because he has, a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, and then a 4 out of 10, 3 out of 10. And you can't trust these players like him. As again, I really like Fred, nice guy, but it doesn't cut if
nice isn't good enough.
Nice isn't good enough. And also, good isn't good enough. He might have had good performances, but it's not good enough. And that's not my saying, that's Ten Hag saying.
This is what I'm trying to say. And Kev, I've said I like Sabitzer a lot, but I just said before I went live, realistically, Bruno, Eriksen and Casemiro are all starting midfielders for Man United. Yeah. Fred isn't a starting midfielder, but McTominay isn't a starting midfielder. Sabitzer isn't a starting midfielder. He's not. He's a good quality squad player, but he's not a starting midfielder. You can't just have 3 starting midfielders that are good enough quality to play. Because when Erik ten Hag has to make subs, automatically the quality is going to drop off. Obviously, there's going to be some players that are better than others, but I mean, Fred with the contract situation, are you keeping him?
Listen, if I'm going to base it off this evening, then I'd be like, no, what is the point? And the thing is, we talk about consistency, and you look at a player like Fred, who is capable of putting in, the scale is literally, he could be a -2 or like a 9, and there is no in between with Fred. He either has an absolute shocker, or he has a game where we're all like, wow, where did that come from? Fred turning on the Brazilian magic, but at this moment in time, and it would probably be for the player himself as well, does Fred want to be kicking around and playing a cameo role at Manchester United if he's got anything about him? Don't get me wrong, I'm not too sure who would take him. I'm sure there'd be somebody in football who would take a player like Fred, but at Manchester United at the minute, like you say, the 3 that were on the pitch that started this game this evening, you've got Casemiro, Eriksen and Bruno. That is your strongest 3. It depends whether Ten Hag wants to keep him. Does he see something in him? I fail to see it at the minute.
We wouldn't be a proper organisation if we're keeping players who are bench players. It's not good enough. We need players who can compete with Bruno, who can compete with Eriksen and Casemiro. Fred can't compete with them.
This Faz will come down to the old regime, and this is where it needs to stop at Manchester United. We talk about activating contracts, players that are injured, but purely for the fee that it cost. How much did that man cost, Fred?
50 M's.
How much?
50 million.
50 million.
Shots out
right?
and popped a bottle of champagne.
Oh, they would have been celebrating, man. I bet they couldn't believe when Manchester United offered them that. And there's no disrespect to Fred, but the point I'm trying to make is, like, Manchester United will look at this now and go, this is an asset that we bought. We've outlaid 50 million on it. We cannot lose him for free. And the decisions to keep the likes of Phil Jones, when's the last time he played? But yeah, he's picking up. This is where I'm saying we need to get away from the old regime. Other teams do it and they're big enough. Even look at Liverpool, are prepared to let just Firmino walk away at the end of the season. Teams do it.
No, they wanted to keep Firmino. Firmino said that he don't want to go. Liverpool hold on to the players too long, like Milner, Henderson. They need to move on.
The reason he won't go is because there's people who need to go before him. We've got players who aren't at the club, right, who are on loan. So Bailly needs to go, Telles needs to go. Then you've got players that... Tuanzebe, you've got Henderson. These all need to go, right? Then you've got players, Brandon Williams, you've got... Maguire. Yeah. There's bigger fish to fry in this sense, right? And when there's reports coming out that there's probably going to be more outgoings than incomings, I'll eat my hat, the saying, yeah, if we manage to actually get rid of more than 5 players, significant players this summer. Just because it is very hard to do when the wages they're on and the fees that we're probably going to want for them. And what I like now is the fact of us actually getting rid of James Garner actually looks all right now, right? He's not playing for Everton much. There's loads of people, including myself, thought that he was probably better than that guy on the screen, right? Better than McTominay. He might well have been, but when you're getting 8 million for a kid, and we need to be more ruthless and offload.
And Jimmy Garner could end up like a Caicedo scenario.
Well, yeah,
similar, like you just said it yourself, young player doesn't get chance, goes somewhere else, and then he's still young. Just because he doesn't start there doesn't mean he's a bad player. He's still a top player, and he might end up doing well somewhere else, and then we'll be here saying, oh, 2 seasons, 3 seasons ago, we let him walk.
This is where we have to give Ten Hag credit, because he has cleared Deadwood. But we knew this, you know.
So much still, isn't there?
Ralph Rangnick called this out at Manchester United, you know, and was shown the door, you know, right, see you later, mate, you know, this propaganda thing that you cannot speak out about the Glazers, the ownership, and what's going wrong at United. That was refreshing at that time to hear it from a United manager. He was shown the door, and now Ten Hag is trying to go about this a bit more diplomatic, where he's under no illusion of the Deadwood, the shit that he's clearing out this club.
He knows.
He knows.
Definitely. You make a really good point there, 100%. I mean, Enjoy Writing says Freddie's 30 and not getting any better. We need to move on.
Lord,
yeah, it's true.
Years old, I
Yeah,
forgot.
it's true, though. It's true. I'm not here for players that will have a couple good games a season. I'm here for players that turn up every single week when they're called upon. That's the levels you need to be at. Tom Kent, member for 10 months. We played keep ball second half, subs were awful. We are Manchester United, we should be dominating teams. I don't remember any 3+0 this season. Yeah, we're in desperate need of a couple positions. Squad is thin. We are in a desperate need of a couple positions. Striker, centre mid, like there's definitely others. We are in desperate need. But finally, before we kind of get on to the end of the show, because we are running out of time, and say our man of the match, whoever that'll be, get thinking. I just want to have a quick little couple of minutes on Shawdini, Shawberto Carlos. I mean, he can do either role. He's absolutely brilliant, Luke Shaw. And again today, first half especially.
His face.
It's a very flattering picture.
I'm sure you guys could have picked a better picture, right?
I mean, both players there. It's not the most flattering, is it? But you know.
He's sure even got his eyes
it's
open.
Like when I ask, it's like when whoever's doing the thumbnails on the United
play
stand.
Football with his eyes shut.
Whoever's doing the
That's how
thumbnails
good
on
he
the
is,
United
man.
stand, this is what they do to us every time. But no, I mean, he first half especially brilliant. Second half he was still good. I know he conceded too, but brilliant. Just I can't get over how good he is at centre back. I mean, Faz. Some are saying Shaw and Stones at centre back for England. Sack Harry Maguire off, sack Eric Dyer off, sack. Let's. Does he keep a position there? Maybe, or is he too good for left back?
I mean, it makes sense why he's been given the contract. It makes sense. Ten Hag has noticed he can play numerous positions for him. He does that well. He's an asset to the system that Ten Hag wants to play. He's gone up level like gears over the course of the season. He's had a little injury and XYZ, but he's been okay. And look, in a situation where we're crying out for centre backs, you've asked him to do a role that is not his. He doesn't play centre back, and he's shown that he can win you semi-final. He can win you games. He can play a really good partnership with Lindelof. He makes Lindelof, much more calmer on the ball as well. It just goes to show, what Ricky says about Luke Shaw, how fantastic he is. He's not the best left back in the world, in my opinion, but that doesn't matter.
Really?
No, he's not the best left back in the world, in my opinion.
He's brilliant at left back.
He's really good, but there are left backs out there that are fantastic as well going
Like
forward. Nuno Mendes, for example. Nuno Mendes is absolutely fantastic going forward.
How old is he? 19 as well, isn't he?
He's
right?
very
young. He's a brilliant left back.
Yeah, he's unreal, unreal when it comes to his. But
I'm looking at Europe. There's not many better than him.
But can Nuno Mendes play a centre back when shit hits the fan? Probably not. And Luke Shaw can. That's where Luke Shaw, got the contract.
I think if you can play, it doesn't necessarily have to be left back and centre back, right? But two positions as well as he is playing.
Exactly.
That speaks for itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Volumes.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So, you can have a player who's fantastic in their own position, but when a player like this is adding so much more value to the squad and the team, he's obviously much better.
I think it's a sign of an amazing player, because at this moment in time, the debate that you could throw out is what is his best position, left back or centre back? And I'm really torn at the minute. I think he's actually excelling better at centre back. And it's nothing against Luke Shaw saying, in the later years, sometimes you might see a left back drop into centre back. And it's nothing to do with pace, because he's still got his pace. You see the instance this evening when he chased Son back?
I think it was this picture.
Son, yeah, it might be this one. But Son goes absolutely mental. I think that's because nobody's actually shouted him. I don't think Son was looking for a foul, but Luke Shaw tracks him from the halfway line, waits, bides his times, you know, a bit like Wan-Bissaka, just times it perfectly and then, see you later,
Just
mate.
took it
I'll
off
take
him,
that.
didn't he? Like, easy.
Thank you.
He's
I'll take that.
And you have to say it. Luke Shaw has received some of the worst criticism online. Some people and fans have abused him to death, and for him to be mentally solid, you know, a lot of players would crumble the amount of abuse he's received as well.
Yeah.
And to think that he's kept mentally strong and stayed physically sharp and come back and now play in a different role to his natural position and put in such great performances is so much credit to him.
And look at him. You know what I mean? And that is the thing, you're right. You know, these people that say, oh, he goes in the McDonald's drive-through 3 times a day and this and that. There ain't a pick on him.
No,
there is not a pick, and the guy can move.
It's an absolutely old narrative that just isn't.
I'd love to look like that in all honesty.
Isn't relevant
Do you know what I
anymore.
mean?
As well.
I think he's honestly could be a captain in the future. Like he speaks.
It's a bit.
I don't know. He speaks brilliantly well. Comes out to the media. He holds players accountable. He holds himself accountable.
He is one of the most honest you will get
he holds
in
players
defeat,
accountable.
whatever it is. You know,
really
he
does.
seems to come out a hell of a lot. You know, more than what club captain Harry Maguire would. That man always comes out and he will give his true assessment and thoughts, and it's exactly what the fans want to hear. You know, after a bad result, a defeat, whatever, 7-0 at Anfield or whatever, this is the guy that comes out and faces the media instead of the so-called captain Harry Maguire. You know, he goes hiding at moments like that. But Luke Shaw, for me, speaks for the fans. You know, when he speaks, I want to hear what he's got to say.
And this is the thing as well. It's like with Shaw, this is how I know he's a good player. His centre back is doing amazingly well. I think he's definitely the step in when Lisandro Martinez isn't fit, 100% that left-sided role. But I'm actually missing him at left back. Like Dallow's done good, but Shaw at left back, defensively really solid. We really miss his crossing. His crossing's excellent. He's actually got a couple of really good assists this season. Today he put one in that Casemiro probably could have put in the back of the net again from centre back. We miss his drive up the pitch. When he's got the ball, he can run at speed through midfields. We miss that when he's at centre back. So when I'm wanting a player to basically double themselves to play 2 positions, that's how I know they're excellent. But I mean, Luke Shaw definitely deserves the credit he is getting, and he definitely was one of the standout performers for tonight. So
just a shame Bruno's miss. I can't lie.
Oh, I know. And Bruno had a good game
Just
as
a
well.
shame.
He had a good game.
He'll be devastated.
Quickly, before we do man of the match, I know, Faz, you wanted to speak a little bit on playing through pain. Bruno, what an example is he?
I don't know what they're feeding him.
It's that
but
milk
they need
juice,
to,
I'm telling you.
They need to give it to Martial. They need to give it to Martinez. They just need to give it to all of the players because I've been critical of Bruno at the start of the season, but now I think I'm head over heels in love with him. The way this guy is constantly there, available for the team. And I promise you, he's in a lot of pain because the way his ankle foot looked swollen and he's iced it up and still travelled with the team now. And Rashford the same, you know, when he was with his back issue and playing for the team. In this level, in this team, you have to play with pain and you have to be willing to suffer. And some players are willing to go right to the edge of the cliff for the team and some aren't. And thank you very, very much, Bruno Fernandes, for that because without you today, probably could have, you know, we could have ended up losing that game. And some people will say, oh, you say it's one player, but that's what it takes. One player, big difference.
He didn't play against Sevilla, and we got absolutely dicked. So.
Yep.
Massively. I mean, we need Bruno
What are you
in that
giggling
team.
about?
Just the chat are just being a little bit wild tonight, a little bit wild. But anyway,
What have they said? Go on, tell us, give us a summary.
Is there any clean ones you can read out?
No, I can't read. I can't read out what this.
Okay.
I can't read out what some of the chat are saying. Honestly. Anyway.
Who's it to do with? Come on, you got to share this with us, man.
All of us, honestly. Mods needs to be getting in on some of them. But anyway, I agree with your point. Bruno Fernandes, excellent captain. Ten Hag named him his captain today, by the way, saying he was happy he was available as his captain. That through ball to Rashford was excellent. Quality. Horrible decision moving out onto the right-hand side, I can't lie. But what a player, and he will do anything for the shirt. And that's just what you got to love about him. But anyway, guys, it's time for Man of the Match. I've got a couple of super chats I'll read out, but we'll do Man of the Match first. I mean, we'll start at your end, Charlie, this time. Man of the Match.
Harry Kane.
Being serious?
Why are you laughing?
Yeah, no, Harry Kane was definitely
He's in the Godfather's throne here.
We usually do a United player on the show.
He will be a United player. What do you mean? Harry Kane. The geezer, honestly, we need, what do we need? A striker, a centre mid, a centre back and a goalkeeper. Just sign him. He'll play everywhere. Just sign him. He could play.
Probably
No,
would be better
in all seriousness, he could actually play.
That chair
he
is
could-
actually,
It is.
you know,
No.
cursed.
In all
something
seriousness,
crazy about
obviously he
that
could
chair.
play up front, but he could play centre mid as well. You couldn't tell me he couldn't play centre mid.
Yeah, true.
He
No,
could,
he
couldn't
could. He could.
he? He plays centre mid now, as well as up front.
Yeah, he does.
Complete half better than half the ones we've already got. I'll tell you
he
that.
could. He obviously couldn't play centre back and goalkeeper, but I mean, he probably could. Didn't he say when he's finished playing football, he wants to go in the NFL? Be a
Oh no,
line,
he was a goalkeeper in the academy.
Oh,
You
was
know
he?
that, don't
Well,
you?
there you go.
That's why I said he could do a better job as a
There you
joke.
go.
Like he
Yeah.
he grew up. He was genuinely a goalkeeper.
Yeah, but
Um,
just
like
to
a scouted
on the
goalkeeper.
goalkeeper topic, David De Gea's save was the one that led to the ball then going on, and Rashford scored. So it was a top save made from David De Gea. as
It
well.
was a top save. I'm not getting into the narrative
I'm not.
tonight.
I'm
I'm
just.
not. I'm not.
Best ready to go all Roy Keane and go,
just
he's just
saying.
doing his
I'm
job.
not getting into the
I'm
narrative
just
because I'm not even
saying.
going to
No, no.
start. I'm not even going to start with a long
I wasn't
ball
even talking to you, to
situation.
be fair. I was talking to the chat, but
Trying to get them back on your side. I see what you're doing. Kev, man of the match.
What I said before, I'm going to go Luke Shaw. Just for the fact that he continues to amaze me. And the versatility of him now makes him an even greater asset. He always was a great asset to Manchester United on the left, but the fact that now he can drop in. And it's something I looked at the start of the game because, like I said, when I looked, it's a double look and I'm like, Brandon Williams on the bench, talk about squad depth. And I thought, if we get a knock here at centre-back, what is Ten Hag going to do? Because yes, you had Malacia on the bench, but I kind of looked and I thought, God, at centre-half, we're going to be struggling here big time. There was talk of Casemiro dropping, which maybe he could have done a job. Thank God it didn't come to that, but Luke Shaw for me.
Yeah, I mean, brilliant. Faz?
I don't want to give anybody man of the match.
Really?
They don't deserve it. The whole team bottled a 2-0
Give it
lead
Kane.
in a top 4 race. I know there's 2 games in hand, 6 points clear, but still they don't deserve it. But because, for the sake of just mentioning the name, just give it to Bruno Fernandes because he's probably in a lot of pain and doing whatever needs to be done to play. So yeah, Bruno Fernandes. But nobody on that pitch deserves to get man of the match after losing.
Yeah, it's always tough to do man of the match, especially after you don't lose. We did draw, but it feels like a loss. But I would probably go with Luke Shaw, same as you, Kev. I mean,
It's the manner of the draw that's annoying. Like you say, if we were 2-0 down at half-time, we come back out and we draw 2-2, we kind of look at it and go, yeah, that's all right. It's the fact we were 2-0 up.
It's such a yo-yo performance. It doesn't add up because top teams don't do this. I don't understand how we're going to sustain next season if we don't fix up and let some of these players
There'll
go.
be massive changes.
Yeah, it has
at
to be.
Manchester United,
Huge emphasis is on tomorrow because with the Glazer ownership, I don't see poor Charlie's Harry Kane and everything because don't know how much the budget's going to be. We just about scraped the piggy bank together to get Weghorst and Sabitzer and yeah, 40 mil for sell all the 6 players and you still won't be able to buy Harry Kane.
I don't want to buy Harry Maguire again.
But yeah, you can't afford Harry Kane with this Glazer ownership. You can't.
I'm excited to see what I don't know if I'm excited or not yet until I see the result, but I'm nervous to see what the result is going to be tomorrow because we are going to start get some news coming out, especially over the weekend. But look, just to finish off on the show, we could have kept going, honestly. An hour's never enough, is it, everyone? I mean, it might be enough for you guys. It's not enough for us. But we've got a few super chats that I did want to quickly read out before the show. As I say, I always try to read them all. And Shahin says, Sir Alex said players peak at 27 to 28, thinking Kane will survive until 34. Thinking Kane will survive until 34 is delusional. It might happen, but you shouldn't plan on that. He isn't Benzema. I don't get the logic there.
You literally
because
contradicted yourself there.
You just said, Sir Alex said players peak at 27 to 28. That is, over time.
Does Sir Alex say jump and you
So
say how
basically,
high?
never buy them at that age, but if you can get them before, then it's all right.
What was Van Persie?
Lewandowski,
Yeah.
But the thing,
Van Persie when United signed him, Ronaldo 30, what was
Players
he
are
when we brought him back?
Players are fitter now and look after themselves better. The longevity is becoming more. I mean, look at Modric.
Called us delusional.
Look at Cruz. And you've just said Benzema's done it at 34. Like you've just said
How
that.
old is Lewandowski, just for argument's sake?
Yeah, 30.
30s.
Yeah, and he's still scoring goals.
Got another chat in saying, let Rash compete with a new number 9 next season. Let Sancho go. Games to get Garnacho, Palestri and Diallo on the wings next season. Timber and CDM in. Well, That's certainly a bold opinion. And Tushar says, I don't know about you, but we lost this in the midfield. Casemiro had a stinker. He overturned possession more than 7 times alone in the first half. Yeah, it wasn't Casemiro's best game.
I haven't watched it back.
We all know that.
He was crap.
But there was other players that definitely...
Ricky
it was a team effort to why we lost that. And Gareth says, not even Google Maps... I'm not reading that one out. I'm not reading that one. Oh, God, right. Oh, God, everyone. It's been a long show today.
I need to read that comment.
No, guys, honestly.
Get us off air.
Get us off air. Oh, get us off air ASAP. But look, guys, thank you so much.
Villa game in the weekend.
Yeah, we've got Villa coming up. Anyone confident for Villa?
Yes.
Yay!
Confident? Yes.
Yeah, I'm confident. Well, we're at home. Why not?
It's at home.
Yeah.
It's at home.
If it was away.
Yeah, home record is obviously a lot better, and the fans are going to be there, right, up for it, and we're going to be a bit wounded from today, so we'll get behind the players as always. And
yes, exactly. And it's before we quickly go, and I don't want to be rude just laughing here, it's just like, I've just got to ignore it, but before we quickly go, I want to get a score prediction in from each of you. Faz, we'll start with you.
Clean sheet is a must. 2-0.
2-0.
2-1 United.
2-0.
No clean sheet.
I'm going
2-0.
with 2-1.
Okay.
I think Villa have been looking good recently, but I think we will get the win over the line. I mean, I'm excited, Yes, it's 2 points dropped today. We should have won the game, but we've been playing a lot of games recently. We've just got to go again. At home, it seems to be, we just don't lose. We just don't lose at Old Trafford anymore. So it seems to be that kind of fortress again. Yeah. Let's hope it carries on. But look, Charlie, Kev and Faz, thank you for being here. Amazing chat as always. And yeah, everyone in the comments as well. Thank you for getting your comments in as per usual. Some were very divisive, mixed opinions, and that's what it's all about. It's about the community. But thank you everyone for getting your chats in, and make sure you like the video on the way out as well. Fan Forum will be back on Sunday after the Aston Villa game. A lot of updates coming tomorrow with the ownership situation. So make sure you keep up to date with all the latest news here on the United Stand. But thank you everyone for watching. See you on the next one. Bye everyone.